Hey folks, how's it going? This might be a bit out of my ballpark, but I wanted to get my 2 cents out on SINoALICE, which just had its global release a few days ago. I've heard about it some time ago and I knew it had a near collab in JP, but being unavailable globally I never gave it much attention. The game sets an eerie and creepy atmosphere starting from the loading screen, and the first characters that greet you are a couple of messed up puppets giving you your first gacha roll. Apparently the whole reroll system got overhauled, so all you need to do now if you don't like your starting 10 draw is to simply refuse it and roll again. There is no limit to the amount of times you can reroll, and I've seen people rerolling for hours aiming for a specific setup. Others instead will swear that rerolling is pointless and you're gonna be fine as long as you get a couple of SR weapons. There are many guides floating around about if and what to reroll for, but the too long didn't watch version is that you'll want at least one SR weapon plus class combination, Cleric Alice or Breaker Cinderella, and at least one other SR weapon that fits their specialty, Staff for Alice, Sword for Cinderella. I'll explain why in more detail later. Here I got a 3 SR weapon roll with no classes and decided to stick with it. But I also went on to scrap the account and restart in order to reroll some 6 hours later. I was surprised to hear how good the soundtrack was. I thought it sounded a lot like News, and then I saw the name of the composer. A few slides later, when Yokotaro's name popped up, I got why the game had a bit of a name behind it, and I was sure I'd be in for some kind of a messed up setting. The game had my interest. Now it had my attention. All the characters are lifted straight from fairy tales, but given some real-world quirks. Red Riding Hood turns into a murderous maniac, Snow White becomes judge, jury and executioner to enact their own brand of justice, Alice gets some severe daddy issues, Gretel runs around with Hansel's head in a birdcage, Cinderella turns into a Gyaru slut, Sleeping Beauty is probably the one that's the least messed up, only wanted to sleep and kill everyone in one letter. Princess Kaguya comes down from the moon to find an evil master that can treat her badly, and lastly, Pinocchio gets pushed around by an evil staff. If you were looking for a waifu but you are not into BDSM, this might be the wrong place for you. On the other hand, the characters actually look great, and the whole bleak muted art style with its sepia tone gives the game a lot of personality. And speaking of personalities, Alice is voiced by Mayo, so I really didn't have much to think for a first pick character. The first piece of gameplay you'll be introduced to is the Purification. This is a small minigame that you use to refill your AP or energy, stamina, whatever you want to call it. Simply click and drag to kill the enemies. The more you kill, the more AP and experience you'll get. You can target all the enemies of one color first to get chain kills, but I'm still not 100% sure what that does. Once the 5 orbs around your character are filled up, you can click on her to instantly clear a screen. Since it also gives experience, and quite a lot by the looks of it, Purifying will also help you increasing your rank, and by doing that grant you a full AP refill for the level up. Until you get to rank 20, you can purify an unlimited number of times. After that, it will be a once every 8 hours thing. Still wouldn't suggest to spam it for rank though, as many of the main story stages will give plenty of rank points and you'll be leveling up fast enough not to actually need a purification refill. Now it's time for the main story and some actual gameplay. Each of the starting characters has its own storyline, sometimes intersecting with another. The first mission of each chapter will allow you to unlock one class for that character, with other classes unlockable as the story progresses. All the 4 characters the marionettes asked you to pick from are in here, so it really didn't matter whom you picked. Let's start with Alice and look at the class a bit. This version of her is a Breaker, a blade specialty damage dealer. Along with blades, she can also use hammers, bows and spears, but if we look at her skills, we see that when leveled up, she's going to get a plus 10% boost to damage in story stages requiring Alice, a 10% boost in damage for all classes using blades, And then we have a plus 50 boost to physical attack and physical defense that are common skills, meaning they will affect all your other characters and classes. These shared bonuses are why unlocking and leveling as many classes as possible is important. Now let's get in.
アリスは目覚める。漆黒の中、薄暗い音、血の匂い。この世界がどこなのかは知らない。だが、なすべきことは分かっていた。自分を生み出した作者、ルイス・キャロルを復活させること。そしてアリスは知っていた。その願いを成し遂げるためには、他のキャラクターたちをすべて殺す必要があるということを。
These little cutscenes are how most of the story is told, and they're all voiced, which is pretty nice. As for the combat itself, the weapons you equip end up being cards you can use during battle, each weapon having a different effect based on its type. Your hand consists of 5 cards out of however many you can equip. I got up to 8 or 9 in a few hours, and you draw one more as soon as you perform an attack. Attacking costs SP. You start the stage with 200 and each card in there consumes 21 or 22 of them. Once you've used up all your cards, you will get a button that will let you redraw all of them at a 20 SP cost. Even if SP slowly regens, spamming attacks is very likely to eat up all of them and leave you unable to cast more. As for the weapons, they've made a great job condensing all the information you need on those icons. From left to right we have the SP cost, the amount of targets the attack can hit, and whether the damage is physical or magical, as well as secondary effects. The hammer in the first slot, for example, will also buff my physical attack. Then there's summons called Nightmares that you can use for a little SP and will have various effects. Overall, the combat feels a bit simplistic. There's only 4 stats to keep track of and interact with by using buffs and debuffs, but I'm hopeful that things will open up more in the future. Your party is composed of 5 people, your current main character and 4 characters from other players, either coming in as CPU-controlled bots or as actual people joining through the co-op screen or your friend list. Playing with randoms is a bit weird, but you can actually filter out who you want to join your co-op or flat out pick and choose which friend you want to accompany you. This way you can always make sure to have at least one good DPS and one good support at your sides. You can set the character you want to land people in the gear set section by making the preset your main. As for the gear itself, you can't equip duplicate weapons, so you'll need many different weapons of the same type in order to optimize your damage. This is why if you choose to reroll, you'll want at least one more high rarity weapon for the specialty of the character you roll. Meanwhile, these sub-weapons will be composed of weapons that you cannot use, but will still provide you some extra stats. Weapons come in 3 different elements and rarities, with A-tier weapons being mostly filler or used as fodder to level up the skill levels of high rarity weapons. S weapons being able to be upgraded to SR weapons, and SR weapons being able to go up to L rarity. The rarity upgrade evolution only requires the weapon to be max level and costs a few farmable materials. Just a word of warning, once the upgrade is complete, the weapon will go back down to level 1, so make sure you have more XP materials for it. Less cheap is raising a weapon level cap. SR weapons will come with a level 60 cap and can be uncapped 4 times. To do so, you will need 4 more copies of said weapon, and it looks like the main source for most of them is the Gacha. For this reason, damage dealers are going to be suffering a bit until they can get multiple S and SR specialty weapons to choose from, while supports are going to be able to run around with stairs for healing, instruments for buffing and books for debuffing. There are some weapons you can trade for with various medals, but I'm not yet sure how the flow of income works for those and how long you've got to save up to buy one. They look a bit expensive, but then again I've only been playing the game for 2 days now and I'm yet to see the Colosseum and its rewards. So let's go take a look at the Gacha. In the Grimoire, you'll be able to spend your hard-earned crystals to roll for weapons, some of which may also unlock new classes. In this banner, the Staff of Bondage, which unlocks Cleric Alice, has a 0.666 drop rate that's a little bit on the nose at this point, and it's the same as the Blade of Depravity that unlocks Breaker Cinderella. It's 1 chance in 150 draws, 11 of which cost 300 crystals. Other than class unlocking weapons, the generic SR pool is on a 3% rate, which is alright I guess, I've seen way worse, with a 20% rate for S weapons and 77% rate for A weapons. Probably the rarest item to get are going to be the SR Nightmares, which only have a 0.03% chance of appearing. Each 11 draw will also give you 100 medals that you can spend in a specific shop. After rerolling for Cleric Alice, I went on to do 5 more pulls which net me 500 medals that I've spent on the item to uncap per class. The level 11 and 12 bring plus 200 HP bonus each as a common skill, so I believe it was worth it. The list of tradable items continues with up to 5 copies of the weapon featured in the banner at 1500 medals each, this time separated from the classes, which come as a standalone for another 1500 medals. Each of them is going to cost 4500 crystals, so I guess it's time to start talking money. You'll find the real money packs under the shop section in the menu. Here there's 2 main tabs for it, the Purchase Twilight Crystal with all its packs and offers, and the Royal Uses Service, which I'll take a look at later. The first packs I guess are the special offers. These add an SR weapon, an SR Nightmare or a Cleric Red Riding Hood to the purchase while keeping the price in line with the amount of crystals you get, which comes close to a $1 for 10 crystals. My prices are in Europe, but that first pack should be $21.35. Below that there's the 7 days crystal deal, splitting the crystals in both free and paid, even though I haven't seen anything specific to paid crystals yet. I guess there's going to be some special offers like the guaranteed 5-star pools in Dragalia Lost, which you can only purchase with paid currency. I also thought they'd give the crystals listed in title as daily rewards, but if that was true, it would put the price at below 1/10 of what you'd normally pay, so the amount listed in the title is probably the full one. Even then, it's about half the price of the normal packs, so I guess it has to do with the paid and free split, as well as the fact that the amount of crystals are fairly small and require you to log in for a week in order to get them all. Even then, kind of weird pricing. The last list is the flat one, and even here the prices are a bit all over the place, but at least they keep decreasing the larger the amount you pay, down to 7.8 cents per crystal for the larger packs. So sparking is apparently a thing in here as well, setting you back $450 if you want to go for the 1500 medal trade for a class, $150 for the class uncap, and $2250 if you want to buy all 5 weapons from this shop. Unlikely as it is, since you should still be able to pull some in the 750 draws it takes you to get there. I've never been a whale and these numbers always make my head spin. I don't really advocate for spending in gacha games or gambling your money away on a chance at something, but I thought it would be interesting to put things into perspective. A single 11 draw is going to cost about $30, which is the exact same as Grand Blue. I guess these prices are getting standardized now. As for the Royal User Service, this is pretty much a premium. You can buy your first 7 days in here for €2.29, and this is going to grant you 49 Twilight Crystals upon purchase, 1 Royal Medal upon purchase, which can be used in a specific shop, 2 of each currently existing blessing for drop rates, experience, and I can't remember the third one, a reduction for the Purification cooldown from 8 to 4 hours, which is pretty massive, as well as the increase in daily friend medals from 3 to 5. Also 3 Royal Skip tickets, as well as a Purification ticket as part of your login bonus, and 5 chat stickers. Also, unlike regular Skip tickets, the Skip ticket Royal does not have an expiry date and can be used in combination with blessings. After your first purchase, you'll have access to a 28-day plan that's cheaper than purchasing the same amount of 7-day plans. And this is going to be a 4 weeks set purchase, including 196 crystals, 148 paid and 48 free. As for the Royal Medal exchange, the weapons in here are actually pretty damn good. The SR weapons are going to cost 7 medals, so that's about 2 months of premium. Also, it's more SR weapons, and considering that at the beginning of the game everyone is pretty much starved for them, it might actually be a really good source for them. A second set down here is going to cost 3, probably the best value though is going to be the SR Nightmares. Again, these only appear at a 0.034 or 0.036% chance from the gacha, and yeah, having these stats as well as these sort of effects, especially for the Colosseum, is a pretty damn big boost. 5 medals means it's going to take a bit over a month to buy one, but I guess this is pretty damn worth it. Especially considering that the price is actually not that high. For 229 you already get crystals as well as kind of massive benefits from this. The 4-week specs should be less than $10. Considering the reward it gives, especially the shop and the SA nightmares, this might not be a bad pick. In conclusion, I'm really liking the art style and music. The first chapter is pretty much just an introduction to all these messed up characters, and I'm really curious to see where it all leads. The combat looks serviceable and might become more interesting as bosses become a bit harder and start requiring different setups to take down. It might be fun to have to coordinate with friends to make teams for them. Also, there's going to be a near collab in a couple of weeks, so I'll be saving all my crystals for it. If you'd like to try the game and need some help, I'm playing as a support and all you need to be able to use my character in your team is to leave me a follow. Also, please let me know if you've liked this sort of first look, any feedback is much appreciated. And that's going to be it from me for the moment. Thank you again for watching and see you soon. Ciao!